time for this week's CEO's vlog. John, thanks for joining us once again. I hope you had a good Christmas.
Certainly did, and Amanda, you too. And this is our last for the year, so we'll make it a good one.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, well, there's an outstanding meeting at Bathurst on Monday night with their Carnival of Cups.
It was a great meeting. Bathurst is certainly fulfilling what the ambitions were of the board of Harness Racing New South Wales for building that new complex. It's drawn terrific crowds since its inception, and it continues to go on. The racing is very, very good there, and we had all the right results. And Aztec Bromac winning for Tanya Harris in the time-honoured Shirley Turnbull Memorial was, for me, just a personal little high, because Tanya is a stalwart of our industry, and it was good to see her horse win.
Yeah, which there's a marquee named after her at Tabcorp Park, Menangle. But yeah, it was a fantastic meeting. I was there at Bathurst, and there was another Turnbull that has entered into the harness racing ranks.
Yeah, huge excitement for Jet Turnbull. And this is part of something where the board is looking to work very closely with the fraternity. And we must remember, we base all of our position and our strategies on the fact we're a family sport. And there was a rule, a harness racing rule, a national rule, that precluded children under the age of 14 for going into stable areas. Well, Harness Racing New South Wales has actually repealed the rule and introduced a stable awareness course, and we've worked diligently with our insurers to make sure that we're putting these children in a safe environment, that there are people responsible for their activities in this area. So Jet became the first. I hope there's a flood more of these children who love our sport, are intrinsically involved through their families, and become engaged in the stable area where they can really feel the greatness of our sport.
Yeah, I know. I think Jet, his dad, Nathan Turnbull, is his hero, so he was very excited. Now he can go into the stabling area with his dad anyway.
What I want to thank is my cousin Marty and Dad for supporting me all this time, and my mum there watching me, she's just laughing, and Dad's just been wonderful to me, and I'd just like to thank them too for respect me, and thanks, guys.
Moving on, the heat policy. It's in place tonight at Penrith. News just came through, and it will also be in place at Maitland tomorrow night. Yes,
this extreme heat, and we always have an awareness of how we look after the horses, and we've taken a proactive stance with this one, and we've introduced early that the races at Maitland tomorrow night will go back 2 races, but for tonight at Penrith, back 1 race. Yes, the horses still need to travel to the tracks in the heat, but still we're not putting them under that extreme stress whilst it's too hot. Both meetings we've looked at, and on the early forecast, the horses will race at a temperature below 37.5 degrees. So it's a step forward, and I hope all the participants understand what we're trying to do here.
And the Harness Racing New South Wales vet, he'll be at both of those meetings as well.
Yes, Don will be there. He'll check horses as they arrive, and he'll check horses certainly after they race. And the clubs have been proactive. We'll make sure there's plenty of facilities and places where the horses can be hosed down post their races. So all being well, there'll be successful race meetings, both very strong race meetings, 9 at Penrith and 10 at Maitland. And of course, Maitland, the heats of the Intercity Pace.
We're talking about race meetings. We've got another big weekend coming up. Obviously, we've got the Leeton Carnival of Cups.
Yes, Leeton, the MIA Breeders' Plate, it's the time-honoured event. It will be a terrific event, as it was last year. Last year was a bit spectacular, but the barrier draw certainly came out to make it an interesting event, and it's a great meeting on New Year's night, as will be Parks on New Year's Day night with another good meeting. And of course on New Year's Eve we have Albury and their fireworks, which will attract a very big crowd. So it's great racing again as we move through this festive season.
I think Parks is New Year's Eve, is that right?
Yeah, New Year's Eve, is it? Night. You've got me confused. But you'll be there? No, you're not going to Parks. No, Kate goes to Parks. I get to do Albury and Leeton, and it's really good. Board members will be at these meetings, so I encourage any participant that wants to talk to myself or a board member about something that Harness Racing New South Wales is doing right, or probably what we're doing wrong, to take the opportunity.
Yeah, no, well, I'm heading to Maitland for the Inner City Pace, so I'm excited about that. But anyway, John, it's been a big year. What have been some of your highlights?
Well, there's been many highlights, so let's just look at 3 or 4. I think the government announcement about the tax parity, and that's starting to flow through, and how the board went and consulted with all the participants and came up with a strategy that was pretty well universally received, was a highlight. The industry conference, for those people who attended the industry conference, and I was only reviewing some of the emails from those attendees in this last week, and it was very well received, and it's something that we'll take forward. Not as big in 2017. We'll go back to a clubs conference and reinvent the industry conference in 2018. That was a highlight. Another highlight, I think, most certainly was the naming of Steve Turnbull as a living legend of the sport, and it was the right thing to do. Steve's been a very loyal servant, but on a really sad note, losing living legend in Donny Clough late in the year was a low light for the sport. Don was such a contributor to so many causes. And in so many associations, and we think of his family continually, and we'll always be relying on the wisdom of Donny Clough. So that was a year in the past. So it was a good year, 2016.
What about 2017? What are we looking forward to?
Challenges, more challenges. We have certainly significant challenges with the wagering landscape, and how it's certainly moving more rapidly than what we could have imagined with the change from Tabcorp or the Parry Mutual pools more to the corporate bookmakers. But even worse, we have the incursion and an invasion of some type of illegal offshore bookmakers, and there's certainly signs there that the wagering dollar is going offshore, where none of the sporting codes or the racing codes, in fact, are receiving their due return for that. So that's something that we will take up the fight with state and federal government to try to remedy that situation. What else do we have? We certainly have, I said, challenges. We'll really want to work diligently and continuously with the industry, with integrity issues, and I would say the hottest issue at the moment is the Harness Racing Australia decision on the abolition of the whips in racing. We have the board, certainly before this announcement was put in place, had a decision that they would work with our industry to be protective of our industry going forward in every respect, and many aspects come into play with the abolition of the whip, and one is certainly the first that comes to mind, and that's the care of our beautiful horses, and we all care so much, but there are so many other aspects that are involved with that, and we will meet with participants, stakeholders, and we'll work through that planned abolition is not until September 1. So whilst we have time is also of the essence, so we'll continue along that path as well.
Okay, and how about February? There's a really big race on.
February. It is a big race. It's a big race every year. It has been for 49 editions, and this is the 50th running of the Miracle Mile. It's our race. It's New South Wales' flagship event. We have quite a few other great races and carnivals, but the 50th Miracle Mile will be something that everybody should enjoy. So I encourage people to make their plans now. Saturday night, the 25th of February, be at Tabcorp Park at Menangle, see another miracle, such as the miracle we've seen this year with Have Faith in Me running 1:47.5. Who would have ever imagined Robin Dundee, way back in 1967, ran 2 minutes in the Miracle Mile, the first horse to break 2 minutes in a race outside of the United States, first pacer. So the 50th will be a big one, and yes, we all should be there, like we should be at every harness racing meeting we can get to.
Yes, most definitely. All right, John, thank you. It's been a great year, and I guess we'll catch up again next year.
Certainly will, but I must thank you. These segments are enlightening. I know we've nearly got this in one take today. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 as you pepper me with those really hard questions, and I come back with those really simple and sometimes stupid responses. But Amanda, thank you. It's a highlight to work with you. It's a highlight to work with everybody in harness racing New South Wales, and a real privilege to work with everyone in the harness racing industry.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Amanda.